Well, time now for a look at what happened in politics today.
We need to make sure that civilians are protected. The violence needs to stop. The women, the children killed in Lebanon is extraordinarily concerning.
The Prime Minister spoke out today on the loss of life in Lebanon, calling for de-escalation as Israel and the militant group Hezbollah continue to exchange fire. On Monday, Israeli forces carried out hundreds of airstrikes on Hezbollah positions, which officials in Lebanon say killed hundreds of people, including women and children. Monday was the deadliest day in Lebanon since 2006. In Ottawa, Conservatives tabled their motion of non-confidence, beginning the morning in the House of Commons with a campaign-like speech from the Conservative leader.
But that promise, after 9 years of the NDP Liberal Prime Minister, is broken. Everything costs more, with 2 million people lined up at food banks because they cannot afford food.
The motion will be voted on Wednesday, and in making his arguments today, Pierre Poilievre outlined several priorities for his party, among them cutting the carbon tax and cutting bureaucracy to balance the budget, to which the Prime Minister had this to say.
Pierre Poilievre, that doesn't want to invest in Canadians, wants to cut the services, the programs, the investments that Canadians are going to rely on to build success into the coming years. And that's what I'm going to stay focused on.
Meanwhile, the government has another labor dispute on their hands. Grain terminal workers at the Port of Vancouver are now officially on strike. According to Grain Growers of Canada, approximately 52% of all grain produced in this country goes through the Vancouver terminal, and they estimate the work stoppage will result in $35 million in lost exports a day. The Labour Minister, Steve McKinnon, on social media stated the two sides have agreed to resume negotiations alongside federal mediators.
We have seen firsthand what hate does. And when we look at the pain and damage that hate causes, one thing is clear. We cannot allow hate to go unchecked. The cost of inaction is far too great.
That was Diversity and Inclusion Minister Kamala Kara during an announcement launching Canada's action plan on hate. The initiative includes grant money for organizations at risk to implement security. Over $270 million over 6 years was allocated for the plan in this year's budget. The plan also promising to provide more support to victims of hate and enhance research and data collection on hate crimes. StatsCan says there has been a jump in police-reported hate crimes by 145% since 2019. And finally, as we mentioned earlier, the Prime Minister is in New York for the UN General Assembly. But last night, Justin Trudeau found time to make an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. While cracking jokes with the U.S. comedian, Trudeau also talked about his unpopularity in the polls here at home.
People are frustrated, and you know, the idea that that maybe they want an election now is something that my opponents are trying to bank on, because you know, people are taking a lot out on me for understandable reasons. I've been here and I've been steering us through all these things, and people are sometimes looking at change. But the reality is, I deeply believe in continuing to fight climate change and continuing to invest in people, and continuing to be there to support people, and I'm going to keep fighting at it.